ask him a question, so have a little think what you'd like to ask Alan a bit later on. Okay, Alan. So, 25 years, definitely maybe. Does it feel that long?
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting in a bar in Manchester last year with Debbie Turner. That was the main reason I was in that place at King Tut's. And we were sitting in the Malmaison bar, and we were going, I wonder what song he's going to play, and it was me and Debbie, and I wouldn't have been at King Tut's if it hadn't been for Debbie Turner. And he started playing Don't Look Back in Anger, and I thought, this is fucking odd, man, do you know what I mean, you know? So it's you know, it is, I suppose it is quite mad, you know?
So tell us, how did you originally run into meeting the Gallaghers?
Well, I met Noel in 1989 backstage because he was going out with a girl that worked in a record company, and I didn't know who he was. All I knew was it's a guy that looked as if he was in the Spiral Carpets, and then Spiral Carpets were on the bill because I managed the House of Love, and you know, Noel came on up with Hannah, and she goes, man. I was like, alright, and he goes, meet Noel. So that was the very first time I ever met him. I shook his hand. I met him for 1 minute, and then I saw him 6 months later. I had to go back and think, oh fuck, I did see him, and I met Clint at the Hacienda, maybe 1990, and he was with a guy with that fucking haircut, and you know, that was the next time I met him. And then the third time I met him was King Tut's.
So, you went to King Tut's and they weren't meant to be playing actually, were they, that night?
Well, I didn't know they were going to be playing. What happened was that I went on up because I was in town, so I was at an acid house night at the sub club in Glasgow. And I wandered into King Tut's to kind of annoy Debbie, to be honest, because she was on the bill. And I wandered on in, and there was a guy in an Adidas blue tracksuit, Man City blue tracksuit. There you go. And what can we say? And he looked fucking amazing. And I thought, right, well, that's a drug dealer. So, because he was too good looking to be in a band in 1993. People didn't look that good in 1993 in bands. They just didn't. Then there was a bald kind of guy, a guy losing his hair next to him, and I thought, I bet you that's the fucking singer. But that was Bonehead. So they then intimidated the security, because there was only about 11. There was about 11 Manx, and there was about 2 Scottish security. And it was easier just to let them play, and the security came up and said to me, well, we'll let them play, because I had the other 2 bands that was higher up the bill. I went, yeah, just let them play, just thinking, just keep the peace. And about an hour later, I went up the stairs, and you know, they just came on. Liam barely moved, to be honest. He was just standing, being a rock and roll star, that barely moved kind of vibe. And they done, I think they started Up in the Sky. Maybe I'm wrong. I think they did Bring It On Down. I can't remember. They done one other, and then they done I Am the Walrus. And just as he announced I Am the Walrus, and I just thought, please don't fuck this up, because I was going to sign them. It got to 3 tracks in, and I went, I'm going to fucking sign them. And what happened was, they went, it's the Beatles song. And I was like, oh, you're going to fuck it up. Because everybody, all the indie bands in 1993 covered the Beatles, and it was always fucking shit. And they nailed it. Like, they had rehearsed for 1.5 years, 2 years. They were fucking amazing. And it was a no-brainer for me. I just went to Coyley, who was our sound guy, Noel's big mate. And I had worked with Coyley in Teenage Fan Club. He had got sacked for doing cocaine with me. Not because I complained, but because the Teenage Fan Club wanted me to be present in conversations and not off my fucking nut. So they sacked the sound guy. So the fact that he had re-emerged as Oasis' sound guy, I thought was cool. So I went, who's the manager? And there wasn't even a manager at this point. And they went, oh, you know, it's, no, we don't have one. Who's in charge? A guy called Noel. And that's just when I met him the next time. And I went, yeah, fantastic, let's meet him. And he came down the stairs and he said, oh, who are you? And I said, McGee. What's your record company? Creation. And then, you know, what do you want? I went, I want to sign you. And we kind of got on right from the very day, from the beginning, you know. And that was it, really. We started the idea of working with each other that night, you know.
What was it specifically that caught your eye with Oasis that night? What was it that caught your eye with watching Oasis that night?
I think it was basically, that night Liam was quiet. Liam was, I wouldn't say timid, but he was fucking quiet. Noel's guitar playing, I really liked that, and I thought the songs were great, and the band played fucking great, and I just thought I'll sign it. But I never thought I'm going to sell 65 million records. I never saw that coming. I just thought I'll put it out. If I get it out before the Stone Roses, in the back of my head, we'll be successful to a certain extent. That was all I thought.
So after signing them, tell me about the recordings. How long did it take to start for Definitely Maybe?
We then went out and toured with little bands. They actually played a gig after I'd found them in May 1993. I couldn't get them signed till October 1993 because I was using Sony to pay for the deal. Because they didn't trust the Sony licensees in America, we went directly through Sony. I owned England, I owned the English rights. They paid me 4% for the rest of the world. So that was in every record sold. And that was the deal we cut. And in September, which if Andy's in a band now, this is a good story about how committed they fucking were. They went to a venue about as big as this, and in the Leeds cockpit, and played to nobody except the barman and the sound guy. And that actually happened.
So, on Definitely Maybe, you went down, didn't you, to some of the recordings, didn't you?
I didn't go to... They got... The recording process to that was basically... Noel liked Dave Batchelor, and he was Mott the Hoople's producer, and he was Sensational Alex Harvey Band's producer, and